What is Pokemon doing now, man? I thought after Legends ZA was a complete dumpster fire, we wouldn't be talking about Pokemon making massive mistakes again until Generation 10 inevitably disappoints everybody, but nope, I was wrong. I was too optimistic apparently, and honestly, now that I think about it, this really comes as a surprise to absolutely nobody. I mean, Pokemon has been taking advantage of its player base for like a decade now, but guys, today Pokemon is in the headlines again, and this time even more of the diehard fanboys are furious. Why are people mad this time? Well, it's because Pokemon's next release is looking like it's going to be a game key card, but is this actually confirmed? Is this a big deal, and why are they doing this today? We're gonna dig a little bit deeper to figure out what exactly is going on, but first, what's going on, guys? Cheers. Tiger came to say hi. She said you guys should drop a like down below so we can fight off the Pokemon fanboys. I like to think she's saying hi to me, but really she just wants to look at the birds out the window. All right, let's jump right in here. This was just posted over on nintendoeverything.com. Pokemon Pokopia breaks tradition for Nintendo published Switch 2 games, will be a game key card. Information about Pokemon Pokopia is trickling out, and one of the big tidbits making the rounds is that it'll be a game key card. That information comes from a new video Nintendo put up today. In it, the company explains the difference between a game that's fully on the cartridge and a game key card. Pokemon Pokopia was used as an example of the latter. But here's the thing, Pokemon Pokopia already has a massive competitor coming down the pipeline, and we're going to talk about that later in the video. So if you don't want to support Pokemon Pokopia, there is a fantastic alternative we'll talk about in a minute. And here is the picture that Nintendo used in this official video. As you can see, Pokemon Pokopia, on the very bottom it has the infamous game key card banner, and right next to it it says 10 gigabyte full game download via internet required. Remember a few months ago when Nintendo addressed the press and said that the reason that they made game key cards is because the third-party games that are bigger than 64 gigabytes wouldn't be able to fit their full game on a Switch 2 cartridge? Well, while that is technically true, it seems to be the case that even Pokemon is going the route of picking game key cards for one obvious reason. It is to save money. There is literally no excuse for a 10 gigabyte game to be on a game key card, especially one that is literally a farming simulator. Some third-party games have the excuse that they need faster read speeds, which can only be achieved by putting the game on the internal storage of the Switch 2, and therefore they have no choice but to go with the game key card. And a lot of people understood that argument. Some people were still a little bit skeptical. I think that argument does actually check out, but that's not the point of today's video. We're talking about Pokemon today, and one of the questions that I had was like, okay, well, this screenshot was showed off in a video where Nintendo was just explaining the difference between a full game on cartridge and a game key card. Is it possible that maybe they just used Pokemon Pokopia as an example here, right? Like, it would be horrible PR and it would be a massive mistake for them to do that, but maybe it's the case that this won't be a game key card and this was just a fluke. But nope, we actually have a second source of this information that actually confirms that Pokemon Pokopia will be a game key card. As you can see on Pokemon's official website for Pokemon Pokopia, if we actually translate this to English, I don't know why it makes the logo so big, but at the very bottom you'll see some important information. We can see that there will be a download version of the game and a packaged version of the game, so a physical version, and it says right here that it will be a key card. So pre-orders for this game are going to go up in 2 days, so that's November 13th, I guess, and the game is apparently coming out March 5th 2026, so we are a couple of months away from the release of Pokemon Pokopia. So some of you might be wondering, like, okay, well, why is this really such a big deal, right? I mean, we've seen a bunch of games on key cards already since the release of the Switch 2, and the reason that this is a big deal is because it'll be the first Nintendo published title on Nintendo Switch 2 that is a game key card. We've already seen a Pokemon release on the system, Pokemon Legends ZA, and that was fully on the cartridge. You could make the case that the Pokemon company is co-publishing, but regardless, it does still count. And to further elaborate here, we just saw the release of Hyrule Warriors, which is not technically a first-party Nintendo game, it's a Warriors game, right? But it's still published by Nintendo Nintendo because the entire game is based around the Legend of Zelda IP, right? And we saw that Hyrule Warriors was a full game on the cartridge. So if the Zelda IP published by Nintendo got a full game on cartridge, why is this Pokemon game published by Nintendo not a full game on the cartridge, and why is it a game key card? Well, the answer is obvious. It is what I have been drilling down on since the reveal trailer of Legend ZA, and that is the fact that Pokemon fans will buy the slop regardless. We saw them coming out in droves defending Pokemon Legend ZA, even though it was obvious to anybody who looked at the gameplay footage for 2 seconds that this was a rushed cash grab. I mean, every sign pointed in that direction, and yet you still had journalists over at like VGC giving it a 5 out of 5 stars. Like, hello, what universe are you in? People over on Twitter saying, I don't care about the backlash, this is my favorite Pokemon game ever. And it's just like, oh my god, like the lack of self-respect is just so sad, right? Like, I don't know how delusional you have to be for that to be the case, but anyway, the reason that this is a game key card is simple. First of all, they're going to save money manufacturing this thing. Second of all, the Pokemon slop enjoyers are just going to buy this no matter what. They don't care. You could grab a steaming turd out of the toilet and write Pokemon in poop on a hat and it would fly off the shelves because these people, they have no standards, right? They'll just buy anything Pokemon related. So again, all of my criticism for the Pokemon franchise lately has been this point exactly. If you continue to financially support mediocrity, you will continue to get mediocrity. That is just, I mean, that's just business. Why would they give you a quality product if you're willing to buy garbage? They make hundreds of millions of dollars off of these people, and every release gets worse and worse and worse and worse, and they are just pushing the envelope with how lazy they can get, how little they can give the consumer, and the Pokemon fans are still gobbling it down, right? They're gonna say all of a sudden we don't care that it's a game key card, right? Like that's what the Pokemon fanboys are gonna say. They're gonna say, oh, suddenly I don't care anymore, it's not a big deal, right? Deal with it, it's just a game key card, right? And like, fair enough, but like, man, the Pokemon franchise has been taking advantage of you for the better part of a decade, and you're over here white knighting and defending the billion-dollar corporation. Like, buddy, seek help. Like, I don't know, like, what else am I supposed to tell you guys? Like, it's so sad. And do you really think that they're going to stop here? Let's just be honest with ourselves, right? Remember when the Switch 2 came out and everyone was like, oh, well, all the first party games are on cartridge, right? And I know that this is not technically first party, but at least we could say, oh, well, you know, the Nintendo published games, at least they're safe. They're going to be full game on cartridge, right? Well, this is a perfect example of boiling the frog. Every couple of minutes, you turn the heat up by 1 degree and all of a sudden the frog boils itself alive. If the physical version of this game sells well, there is no reason for them to not start putting more games that are published by Nintendo on game key cards. And again, if this thing flies off the shelves, what are the odds that generation 10 will be a game key card? I know it sounds crazy, I know it sounds insane that this would never happen, but let's be real, Pokemon fans have proven time and time again that they don't care. They will consume the slop. Why would it stop there, right? It could go even farther than that. Now I hope it doesn't, right? As somebody who has a full shelf of physical games over here, not a game key card in sight, I really love physical media, which is why game key cards are just garbage, right? Like, it's the worst of both worlds. You still have to go to the store to get it, and it's a waste of plastic, so it's just like one day that's just gonna be in the ocean somewhere for no reason, right? Because you could just download it and have a better experience. And I've said this before, I'll say it again, Pokemon is the most valuable media franchise in the entire world, and it's not even close. It is way more valuable than even second place. Like, look at this, okay? Pokemon's in first place, $113 billion. Second place is Mickey Mouse at 61. You have to literally combine second and third place just to reach Pokemon's heights, okay? And yet they are still nickel and diming their customers, they are still cutting corners, and they are spitting in the faces of their loyal fans and just giving them the bare minimum, like they have been doing time and time again. And honestly, the Pokemon fans deserve it. I mean, really, they do deserve to be taken advantage of because they have no self-respect. Like, they will just buy anything. Like, if you will buy anything, you deserve to be taken advantage of. I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you. Like, the only way to stop getting taken advantage of is to stop supporting the company, but they can't do it. They simply cannot do it. Let's see what Reddit has to say about this. Okay, I know it's not developed by them, but I thought something like this Nintendo would ensure was a real cartridge. Yeah, completely surprised it's a key card. card. You shouldn't be. You really should not be surprised that this is a game key card, because I've said it once, I'll say it again. Pokemon Legends EA proved that the slop enjoyers will just buy anything. The game does not have to be finished. They could charge you for DLC on day one that is clearly just cut content. They don't have to try. The game does not have to be polished. It doesn't have to be finished. It doesn't have to be a particularly good game. It's like 25 hours worth of content. They can disrespect their customers time and time again, and they'll still buy it. So why would they care about you? Why would they care about you if you don't even care about yourself? You don't even have any self-respect when it comes to what you spend your money on. Like, you've reinforced their behavior. They will spit on you over and over again, and you'll sit there on Twitter and defend them for it. And I'm telling you right now, the Pokemon fanboy crybabies are gonna start saying, oh, game key cards are fine. We don't care that it's a game key card. I only care about digital. Digital's better anyway. It's gonna happen. They're gonna pretend like the backlash for game key cards for the last 6 months wasn't real, just so that way they can justify giving Pokemon more money, because they don't know any better. This person says it's wild because Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, developed by Koei Tecmo and published by Koei Tecmo in Japan, is not a key card. Meanwhile, this is. It is strange. Again, it is not strange. They're just continuing the trend that they've been going down. Every release, they will take more and more advantage of the Pokemon fan base. This person says probably something to do with the Pokemon company handling everything in Japan. Nothing gets that company hot and heavy like a way to cut costs. This user replies, yet ZA is a real cartridge, to which they say, cause it's cross-gen. That's a great point. This person says probably because they expect Pokemon Legends EA to sell well. Pokopia being a game key card probably means they expect it to not fly off the shelves, so they are minimizing the impact. That might be true, right? But I mean, I don't know. I feel like when this game was first revealed, even I was looking at it like, oh, okay, like that's a pretty cool concept for a game, like a farming simulator that is based around the Pokemon franchise. Like, that's really cool. I like the idea of Pokemon Pokopia. Now, I'm not going to buy it because I'm done supporting Pokemon for the foreseeable future, right, until they stop releasing garbage, but I at least can appreciate the concept. And I feel like this did resonate with people when they first revealed the trailer. I mean, obviously not everybody thought it was great, right? It's clearly like trying to be some sort of Minecraft / Stardew Valley ripoff, right? Like, clearly, but I mean, it's the Pokemon IP. I feel like if they were going to go out of their way to try to develop a game that is like completely original, right? And it's not original, but it's original for Pokemon fans, right? We've never really seen a game like this from the Pokemon company. So if that's the case, you would actually want to position this to succeed, right? I mean, Pokemon Legends EA, they knew it would sell well because Pokemon Legends Arceus sold well, right? So it already has an established fan base, whereas this, you would think that they would want to like not cut any corners at all. You would think that they would pull out all the stops for this thing because they're trying something new. There's inherent risk with trying something new, and so you would want to put your best foot forward. No, does that not make sense? I don't know. That's just my thoughts on it, but yeah. This person says, even as a big Pokemon fan, even as someone who enjoyed both Scarlet and Violet and Pokemon Legends EA, despite all of the online backlash against both for in some cases very fair reasons, holy shit, the Pokemon company hates their fans and developers. It's absolutely bonkers that only barely an equivalent 10% of their yearly marketing budget was spent on ZA, not to mention the other problems. I'm amazed we even have a game in the first place, honestly. And this is what I said earlier, every single release, more and more fans start to wake up. I said this with Legends EA, I said this with Scarlet and Violet, and here we see yet another person who's like, look, even as a massive fan, it's getting hard to ignore the obvious reality that they are just taking advantage of you people. This person says a 10 gigabyte Pokemon game on a key card, indefensible. Exactly. There's no excuse. You can't make the argument that like, oh, well, they need faster load speeds. Really? For this? You think you need faster load speeds for a farming simulator? That's a joke. There's no excuse here other than to nickel and dime you, save as much money as possible, and this thing will still sell a ton of copies. Now, it probably won't sell as well as Legends EA for a variety of reasons, but you know it's still going to be wildly profitable for them. This person says, guess I'm not getting physical, or better yet, not even getting the game now. And I think this is another thing too, where a lot of people may have been willing to try this out because they're familiar with Pokemon if they could buy it physically, right? But like, let's think about it logically, okay? Even if you hated Scarlet and Violet, you hated Pokemon Legends EA, right? You still might be fond of the franchise and might be willing to try something entirely new like this, right? Like, this clearly is not trying to be a brand new Pokemon game with an extensive, you know, backstory and lore and all this other stuff. Like, it's clearly something different. And I think that there is an audience for that, but now they're shooting themselves in the foot before the game is even out the door, and you're alienating the people that only buy the physical cartridges. Like, it just seems like a horrible strategy to me. This person says, here they come, the game key card haters. It's me. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me, I guess. Is it really so much to ask for that like the games on the cartridge? Is the bar really that low? Really? Like I'm a hater because I expect the game that I pay for to like be there in my hands. Is that like, why is that so much to ask? Like consumers have been disrespected and spit on for so long that they can't even demand the actual product that they're spending their money on. And I know it's just a license, but like, god damn, dude, mindless consumerism. That's all it is. Look at this guy. They say game key card haters completely ignore the fact that without game key cards, a lot of these games would have absolutely no physical option. That is true if we weren't talking about a 10 gigabyte game released by the most valuable media franchise in the world. There is absolutely no reason for this to not be the full game on the cartridge. This is the part that they don't understand, right? They've been fed this one technical truth, and that's the hill they're going to die on, like completely devoid of logic. This person says, I wanted to buy that game, but not anymore. Game key card equals boycott for me. This person says, I'm part of the mod team for r/Pokopia, and it's safe to say we're all excited about this. Yay, game key cards. Woo! Man, I love not owning my games physically. That's so cool. I love knowing that the game is coming out with an expiration date. It might not be for 10 years or 20 years, but one day you will not be able to play this game anymore. Yay! That's so awesome. They go on to say, I know there's some criticism about game key cards, but it's still great we've got a proper release date. This, again, the bar is on the floor. The bar could not be any lower. It's actually just embarrassing. This person says, super disappointing. It's a key card, man. This person says, we are only at the beginning of the Switch 2 life cycle. I unfortunately think by the end of it, we are going to see that a majority of games with physical releases are game key cards. And this is exactly what I said before, folks. They're testing the waters, right? They're going to keep pushing the boundary and pushing the boundary, and people will say, oh, well, technically in Japan, it's not published by oh, well, Pokemon's not a first party game. And so, I mean, yeah. Every single time they push the boundary, it's going to be the, actually, technically, and then next thing you know, the next Mario game is on a game key card, right? And it's because you guys just enjoy getting spit on. It's like a kink or something. I don't know. Now, it's been a couple of months since I actually checked in over on Amazon to see if there are any of these game key card games that are selling super well. And if we take a look at the Amazon bestsellers for video games, we could see that the bestseller is still the Switch 2 Mario Kart World Bundle. We've got Legend ZA for the original Switch here. We have Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. We have Donkey Kong Bonanza down here, the Mario Galaxy release. We have Kirby Air Riders, which isn't out yet. That's a pre-order. We have Metroid Prime 4. That's also a pre-order. Let's see. We keep scrolling down here. We got Smash Bros. It looks like there's no other Switch 2 games. So there's no other Switch 2 games in the top 100 if you sort by Amazon bestsellers. So there's literally 0 game key cards that are in the Amazon bestsellers over on Amazon right now. And I live in the United States. That's just for me. Maybe it depends on where you guys live, and maybe that will change because Black Friday is coming and maybe there's going to be some big deals or something. But as of right now, recording this, there are no game key cards in the top 100 best selling for the video game category over on Amazon. So does that mean people hate game key cards? Not necessarily, but it is a point on the graph. And again, this is just unnecessary negative press. Like, why would they it just doesn't make any sense. Oh my god, I just thought about this. Okay, I'm gonna give you guys this one for free. Okay, if you are a Pokemon fanboy and you made it this far into the video, I'm about to share with you a really good talking point that you can use to white knight and defend the multi-billion-dollar corporation on the internet. Okay, here's what you can say in my comment section below. You can say something like this: well, the game is only going to be $60 instead of $80. Remember how they said all the games were going to be $80 for the Switch 2? Well, now this one's only $60. That's why it's on a game key card. They would have had to charge us $80 if it was going to be the full game on the cartridge. There you go. There's another great point you can use to defend the multi-billion-dollar corporation, and then you can justify the continual eating of slop. Meanwhile, your favorite franchise has strayed so far from the light that it barely resembles what it once was during its glory days. And the funny part is that I get all of this hate from the Pokemon community because everyone thinks I hate Pokemon, even though it's literally this entire shelf is Pokemon games back here. I've beaten all of them. I've completed the Pokedex, the national decks, for probably half a dozen of them or more. I love Pokemon, right? And the irony is that, like, in some tiny microscopic way, I'm actually doing more good for the franchise by being critical of it than the slop enjoyers who are defending the multi-billion-dollar corporation, right? No good can come from just mindlessly consuming garbage. You will just continue to get garbage. But if you actually just put your money where your mouth is, maybe one day you could finally have a good Pokemon game again. But no, you're going to be forced to consume garbage forever. But guys, I told you earlier that there was a game that is coming out that will directly be a rival to Pokemon Pokopia. And guess what, folks? It's a game called Pal Farm, and it does come from the developers of Pal World themselves. And it is quite literally another farming life simulator game. The description over on Steam says, enjoy a farming life with mysterious creatures known as pals. Team up with them to grow your farm at your own pace in this brand new creature collecting farming sim, fully playable in multiplayer. So far there's no release date announced, but the most based thing that I could imagine would be, now that we have the Pokemon Pokopia release, they should drop Pal Farm on the exact same day, assuming that it's actually ready. That would be absolutely amazing. And look at this actually, from these screenshots, the game actually looks gorgeous. Like, what, the Pokemon fanboys are gonna look at this and say, oh, this looks so bad. Meanwhile, you know damn well this looks 10 times better than even Pokemon Legends ZA. Just objectively, the game just looks better. This is a better looking game. You know it's going to perform probably just as well, if not better. And how much you want to bet this game's not going to be $60? Like, let's just take a guess. Is this game going to be, you can let me know in the comments, do you think Pal Farm is going to be a full $60 when the game comes out? Maybe it will, right? Maybe it will. I have no idea. Man, look, dude, it's so embarrassing for Pokemon, right? Like, when you see this side by side, like, that's how you really know that Pokemon is cooked. This is Pokemon Pokopia and this is Pal World Pal Farm. Like, it's not even close, folks. It is not even close. The most valuable entertainment franchise in the world is getting lapped by an indie developer that is just crushing them. And like, look, Pal Farm might suck, right? It's not out yet. I've never played it. It could be complete garbage, but you have to at least give them credit for making something that looks like they are trying. And let me be clear, Pokemon Pokopia is clearly a stylized game. It clearly, they went with like the Minecraft sort of abstract style, and I get it, right? And that's for some people, this is for other people. Like, it is what it is. You can prefer that art style or another, but like, man, this just looks so much better. Let's take a look at this video here for Pal Farm. Man, this is this, I already know what's gonna happen. It's going to put Pokemon to shame. It's so sad, man. It's so sad. As someone who, you know, I grew up with Pokemon, I loved the games like throughout. I mean, I even played a bunch of them on the Switch, right? But man, this is just, objectively, it just looks so much better. Anubis, Master Blacksmith. Yeah, I'm gonna be buying this game instead of Pokemon Pokopia. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I mean, even just if we take a step back, right, and let's just take off the hater goggles, let's take off the rose tinted glasses, okay, let's just all start from a level playing field. I personally think that this guy, he's got a gun. Oh, he's got a freaking gun. Oh, is that even allowed on YouTube? Just if we're looking at this objectively, okay, I think Pal Farm has a higher probability of being a fun game. Just for me, that's just for me personally. The game just looks better. It just looks like it's a higher quality experience, and I imagine that it's probably going to be cheaper. And really, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is, right? I'm gonna be buying Pal Farm. I'm gonna see how the game is. Maybe I'll play it on a live stream. If you guys want, you could follow me over on Twitch down below. Maybe I'll stream here as well, so make sure you subscribe. But yeah, if you're looking for a Pokemon style farming simulator, I think Pal Farm is just going to be leagues ahead of whatever Pokemon is trying to do with Pokemon Pokopia. And now that we see that it is also a game key card, we basically have confirmation that they are cutting every corner possible here, and they're probably just going to do the bare minimum like they always do. So anyway, guys, if you made it to the end of the video, consider dropping a thumbs up. It really helps out the channel a ton, and you might think you're subscribed because you've watched a bunch of my videos, but you're actually not. Double check down below.